Alright everyone, here's part 3 to my Lovie Smith not good in Chicago rant, so here it goes. For those that haven't seen part 2, I said if I had to choose one or the other, I would go with Mike Shanahan being the new head coach. That's just me on a personal level. So, comparing Shanahan and Lovie Smith, what could be said about Lovie Smith that hasn't been said already? Well, unlike Lovie Smith, Mike Shanahan, in my view, he's a proven winner, and that's one of the things that started my hometown of Chicago ever since the end of the Michael Jordan era. Ever since Michael Jordan retired and joined the Washington Wizards or whatever in 2003, whatever year it was. It was his third retirement, and he joined in 2003. But that's beside the point. Also, unlike Lovie Smith, Mike Shanahan knows how to run the football. Many people will agree with me on this. Like the Broncos or not, you got to admit Mike Shanahan, one of the most successful coaches, is over the past 20 years or so. Mike Shanahan is one of the most successful coaches in the game as we stand right now. Also, a head coach who's been part of 3 Super Bowl championship teams. 2 of them is the main man calling the shots. The head coach who's a local in the Chicago area, my hometown. A head coach who knows our quarterback, Jay Cutler, and a more important thing when it comes to Mike Shanahan, a head coach who, again, as I said, he knows how to run the ball because he's successful at it, and not only because it's the only thing that he knows, he can also tell when to send the right people out on the field and get the job done. So, where does that leave Lovie Smith? Effective now, it's January of 2010. So, where does that leave Lovie Smith? 3 years in a row and still no playoff appearance. 3 years in a row, still no playoff appearances. Staring off into space at the slightest little mishap. Looking 3/4 asleep during an interview, and whenever a big call would come against the Bears, you'd have a deer in the headlights look in his face. So that's the number one thing I'd notice. Can't coach worth anything. Deer in the headlights. Deer in the headlights expression. Couldn't even probably coach a high school football team to victory, let alone get the Chicago Bears to tell them to get their asses on the same page. And also, when it comes to Lovie Smith, I'll just say it as it is. I'm sure a vast majority of people in Chicago will say this too. None of us like him. The constant repetition of bad coaching moves ever since the Super Bowl, which we lost, and it just seems the longer we keep him, the more he coaches, and the worse the team is going to be. And I can full on admit that because I could just tell by some of the coaching decisions, 9.5 times out of 10 the decisions that he wanted to go for, they weren't good at all. Especially, I forgot what year it was, but the majority of his draft picks, Jerry Angelos, they sucked. Our second round draft pick he gave for Gain Adams, I forgot what year this was, but if anybody knows when it was, let me know. Alright, we'll admit getting Jay Cutler, or at least trying to get Jay Cutler in Chicago on both their parts, that was a good move, but seeing him choke in his debut and throw 4 interceptions, that kind of left a sour taste in my mouth, but that's just me personally. And I can basically sum it up as to 5 words: Lovie Smith has to go. And the sooner the better. But if he's still going to be in the coaching position until 2012, like I've said before, right now it's 2010, 2012. We'll have another 2.5 years of losing season on our hands, and that's not good, especially if you're a Bears fan. Another thing I could really say about that was if the third straight year with no playoff appearances, yet they want to bring him back to keep us in the same category as the Detroit Lions. All due respect to the Detroit Lions, but in 2008, when they had the imperfect season or whatever it was, where they lost all 16 games. That's basically the caliber of the Chicago Bears right now, as long as Lovie's still going to be in the coaching seat. And in a time like that, I've got to be thinking to myself, in teams like that, and you got to rethink what you're doing, and you got to try and get rid of the dead weight and hire on some new people. And about 95% of that dead weight is Lovie Smith. And if anybody doesn't like what I'm saying, don't watch the video, because that's the only thing I can tell you. If you do like it, then pass it on to all your friends, have them watch it, and at least have them listen to my view, listen to my side on the story. And I can also add on to a couple of other things. Well, I still got a couple minutes. A clear testament of his lack of developmental skills in the coaching staff, as well as recruiting and scouting. Cases in point. Aroma Shadu, picked up by the Colts and the Texans 2.5 years ago. Actually played for the Colts a little while ago. But he's done okay, but I hope to see a little better from him. Johnny Knox, he has great charisma and great athleticism, but then again, he also shows a lack of discipline, missing routes and not making the correct cuts. His fault or the coaching staff's fault? Take your pick. I'm looking through my notes here and I just lost track where I was at. Devin Hester, the coaching staff of the Bears tried to teach him to be a wide receiver along with others on the roster, but what happened in year 3 of the quote-unquote developing and teaching? Proof that a couple of 3 things. 1, Devin really doesn't want to be a wide receiver. Bad scouting choice? Quite possibly. 2, Chicago doesn't have the staff to develop a top talent in the wide receiving division. Indeed, they ruined his returning capabilities by losing all concentration in that category. So, all in all, you can blame it on the coaching staff, you can blame it on Jerry Angelo, you can blame it on anybody you want to, but in my opinion, as a Bears fan, I blame everything on Lovie. The vast majority of your decisions, neither of them were good. But other than bringing Jay Cutler into Chicago, I will admit that was a good move. But other than that, the man can't coach worth a squat. So let me know what you think and keep an eye out for more videos. Later.